You feel called. You know you carry something real. Your gifts are genuine. Your intuition is sharp. Your desire to serve is one of the most authentic things about you. So why does money keep slipping through your fingers? Not occasionally. Not in the way that everyone experiences financial difficulty from time to time, but consistently, in ways that seem almost designed, as if every time you get close to genuine financial stability, something pulls it back out of reach. As if the very qualities that make you who you are, the generosity, the sensitivity, the deep desire to be of service, are somehow working against you in this particular dimension of your life. You have probably heard the explanations that circulate in spiritual communities, that money is a lower vibration concern, that true spiritual service should not be organized around financial gain, that the universe will provide for those who are genuinely aligned, that worrying about money is a sign of insufficient faith. And yet here you are, genuinely aligned, genuinely faithful, genuinely committed to your path, and still struggling with the same financial patterns that the spiritual explanations were supposed to resolve. Here is what those explanations missed. There are specific traps, some energetic, some deeply practical, some operating at the intersection of both, that target awakened souls with a particular precision. Not because the universe is working against you, but because the very qualities that define you as a chosen one, your generosity, your sensitivity, your inability to say no to genuine need, your deep discomfort with anything that feels selfish or materialistic, make you specifically vulnerable to dynamics that extract wealth from those who carry them. These are not random misfortunes. They are patterns, recognizable, nameable, and most importantly, once you can see them clearly, addressable. This message is about seeing them clearly, about the 9 most significant financial traps that chosen ones and awakened souls consistently fall into, and about what genuine financial healing actually requires for a soul whose relationship with money has been complicated by the very depth of their spiritual gifts. Because money is not your enemy. It is not spiritually inferior. It is not incompatible with genuine service or genuine alignment. It is, at its most essential level, simply energy. And energy, managed well, becomes the resource that makes your mission not only possible, but sustainable. Before we continue, take a slow breath. If something in you already recognized itself in the opening of this message, stay with that recognition. This is not about judgment or shame. It is about the honest and compassionate examination of patterns that have cost you enough. Subscribe to this channel if you are walking a path of genuine conscious living and intentional growth. And if this found you at exactly the right moment, leave 1111 in the comments as your quiet declaration that you are ready to see what you have been missing. Now let us walk through 9 reasons why chosen ones keep losing money and what closing each of these traps actually requires. 1. You give so freely that the flow only moves in one direction. Generosity is one of the most genuine and most beautiful qualities a chosen one carries. The impulse to give, to share what you know, what you have, what you are, is not a flaw. It is one of the clearest expressions of the genuine care and genuine service orientation that defines who you are. But generosity without boundaries is not sustainable. And generosity that consistently flows outward without an equivalent flow returning is not spirituality. It is a leak. A slow, steady, often invisible drain on the resources that your mission genuinely requires. The pattern looks like this. Someone needs advice and you give it, freely, generously, for as long as they need, with no thought of compensation because charging feels wrong. Someone needs your time and you give it, because how could you not, when their need is genuine and your capacity to help is real? Someone needs your energy and you give it, because you were given gifts in order to use them, and using them to help people is what they are for. All of this is true, and none of it is sustainable when it operates without the counterbalancing flow of genuine reciprocity. Energy, in every form including money, operates according to the principle of exchange. Genuine, mutual, balanced exchange. When the flow is consistently one-directional, the source eventually runs dry. Not because the source is insufficient, but because sources that give without receiving are subject to depletion regardless of how abundant they originally were. Charging for what you genuinely offer is not a betrayal of your service orientation. It is the mechanism by which your service becomes sustainable. It is the completion of the energetic exchange that makes genuine giving that does not eventually produce burnout and resentment and the inability to continue, actually possible. Your gifts have value, real, significant, irreplaceable value. Allowing that value to be exchanged for genuine compensation is not greed. It is stewardship. It is the practical honoring of what you carry and what your mission requires in order to continue. 2. Your beliefs about money are quietly working against everything you are trying to build. The subconscious mind is extraordinarily powerful, and the beliefs it holds about money, beliefs absorbed early, often before conscious awareness had the capacity to examine or question them, from family and culture and religious frameworks and the accumulated messaging of an entire lifetime, shape the financial reality of your life with a precision and a consistency that your conscious intentions rarely override. Many awakened souls carry deeply embedded beliefs about money that feel, on the surface, like spiritual wisdom. That wealth is inherently corrupting, that people with money are spiritually compromised, that genuine service should not expect financial return, that the desire for financial abundance is a lower vibration concern that the truly spiritual transcend. These beliefs feel like discernment. They feel like the wisdom of someone who has seen through the materialism that most people are enslaved to and chosen something higher. But examine what they produce. A subconscious mind that believes wealth is corrupting will consistently find ways to ensure that wealth does not accumulate, because accumulating it would conflict with the identity of someone spiritually pure. It will engineer the spending, the losses, the generosity without boundaries, the undercharging, the self-sabotage that keeps the financial reality aligned with the belief. And the genuinely painful irony is this: the mission that these beliefs were supposed to protect, the service, the healing, the contribution to collective awakening, is being undermined by the very beliefs that claim to protect its integrity. Because missions require resources, sustainable service requires financial stability, and the belief that money is spiritually inferior is not protecting your spiritual integrity. It is defunding your ability to do what you are here to do. Money is energy. In its essence, it is entirely neutral, a medium of exchange that carries whatever intention and whatever consciousness the person using it brings to it. It can be used in service of genuine good as readily as in service of harm. What determines its spiritual quality is not its existence, but how it is earned, held, and directed. Examine the beliefs. Replace them not with greed but with truth. And watch how the financial reality of your life begins to reflect the new frequency. 3. You are funding other people's unhealed patterns at the expense of your own stability. The sensitivity and the empathy that chosen ones carry make them specifically vulnerable to a dynamic that operates with quiet but devastating effectiveness on those who cannot easily tolerate the discomfort of another person's need going unmet. It looks like love. It presents itself as care, as loyalty, as the natural expression of the generous heart that you genuinely have. But what it actually produces, when it operates without discernment and without the honest examination of what it is actually doing, is the consistent transfer of your financial resources into the patterns of people who have not done the work of healing their relationship with money, responsibility, and reciprocity. The family member who has been in financial crisis for as long as you can remember, and whose crisis, despite your consistent intervention, never seems to actually resolve. The friend whose emergencies arrive with a regularity that genuine emergencies do not have. The person in your life whose needs are always just slightly larger than your capacity to meet them, ensuring that no matter how much you give, there is always more being asked for. These dynamics are not always conscious. The people involved are not always deliberately exploiting your generosity, but the pattern is real. And what it is costing you, financially, energetically, and in terms of the resources available for your own mission and your own stability, is equally real whether the exploitation is conscious or not. Helping people who are genuinely working to help themselves is an act of genuine service. Consistently funding the patterns of people who are not, who are, consciously or not, relying on your inability to say no to maintain a dynamic that their own healing would require them to change, is not service. It is a leak, and it is one that will drain your financial resources as reliably and as completely as any other. Discernment in giving. Honest, sometimes uncomfortable discernment about what is genuinely helping and what is simply maintaining a dynamic that serves neither person is not a betrayal of your generous nature. It is its maturation. 4. You have not learned that the word no is a complete sentence. Boundaries and spirituality have a complicated relationship in many awakened circles. The emphasis on love, on service, on the dissolution of ego and the prioritization of others can produce, in the souls who take it most seriously, a profound and genuine inability to decline a request without experiencing it as a failure of character. You say yes when yes is not what the situation genuinely calls for. Not because you have been deceived about what is being asked, but because the discomfort of saying no, the anticipation of the other person's disappointment, the fear of being perceived as selfish or unkind or insufficiently spiritual, is more immediately painful than the cost of saying yes. And the cost of saying yes, accumulated across hundreds of such moments, is devastating. The time given away when it was genuinely needed for your own work. The money lent without genuine expectation of return. The energy extended to requests that produced nothing in exchange. The agreements entered without contracts because contracts felt like distrust. The undercharging accepted because insisting on your full rate felt like greed. Each individual instance felt manageable. The accumulation is not. No is not an unkind word. It is an honest one. It is the word that a soul with genuine self-respect uses when a genuine yes is not available. When the resource being requested is not genuinely available to give without cost to something that has an equal or greater legitimate claim on it. Chosen ones without boundaries are not more spiritual than those with them. They are more depleted, more resentful, more financially vulnerable, and less able over time to offer the genuine service that their mission requires, because the resources that service depends on have been consistently given away to requests that did not genuinely deserve them. Learn the word, practice it, and understand that every no said in genuine honesty is also a yes to your own stability, your own mission, your own sustainable capacity to continue giving to what genuinely deserves what you carry. 5. You are navigating the practical dimensions of financial life without the practical skills they require. The spiritual life and the practical life are not two separate domains with different rules that can be navigated independently of each other. They are dimensions of the same reality. And the soul that tends only to the spiritual while neglecting the practical creates an imbalance that has real, material consequences. Many awakened souls carry an implicit belief, often unexamined, often absorbed from spiritual teachings that emphasize transcendence over engagement, that genuine spiritual alignment should somehow produce financial stability without requiring the practical skills and practical disciplines that financial stability actually depends on. But the universe does not exempt aligned souls from the need to understand their own cash flow. The divine does not manage your tax obligations on your behalf. Spiritual gifts do not substitute for the basic financial literacy that any life organized around sustainable service genuinely requires. Knowing how much you earn and how much you spend, understanding the basics of budgeting and saving and the management of debt, having the practical systems in place that ensure your financial life is not simply happening to you, but is being actively and intelligently directed. These are not lower vibration concerns that a sufficiently spiritual person transcends. They are the practical foundation without which even the most genuinely aligned spiritual life eventually runs into the wall of financial reality. The integration of genuine practical financial skill with genuine spiritual alignment is not a compromise of your values. It is the completion of them. It is the recognition that genuine service, Service that is sustainable, that continues over a lifetime, that is able to grow in its reach and its impact, requires a financial foundation that is built with the same intentionality and the same discipline that you bring to your spiritual practices. Ground your gifts in practical skill, and watch what becomes possible when the spiritual and the practical dimensions of your life are genuinely aligned, rather than operating in opposition to each other. 6. When abundance arrives, something in you finds a way to return to familiar ground. This is one of the most subtle and most consistently overlooked of all the financial traps that chosen ones fall into. And it is the one that operates most completely beneath the level of conscious awareness. You manifest something, a genuine financial win, a client, an opportunity, a sudden unexpected arrival of resources. And then, sometimes within days, sometimes within weeks, it is gone. Spent in ways that seemed justified in the moment, but that, examined honestly in retrospect, were not. Given away because holding on to it felt uncomfortable in a way you could not quite name. Invested in something that did not work out. Lost to a circumstance that seemed unfortunate, but that, examined in the pattern of similar circumstances across time, seems less like bad luck and more like a consistent return to a financial baseline that feels familiar even when it is genuinely uncomfortable. This is not bad luck. It is the operation of what might be called a financial thermostat, the internal setting, established through years of lived experience and absorbed belief, of what level of financial abundance feels normal and therefore safe. When what arrives exceeds that setting, the system, operating entirely beneath conscious awareness, works to return conditions to the familiar level. Not because you are consciously choosing this, but because the subconscious mind, whose primary function is the maintenance of what is familiar, interprets the excess as a deviation from the norm that needs to be corrected. Healing this requires the honest identification of what the internal setting actually is, where it came from, what beliefs and experiences established it, and the patient, consistent, compassionate work of raising it, not through willpower or positive thinking alone, but through the genuine healing of the wound that established it in the first place. You deserve to hold what genuinely arrives. Healing the part of you that does not yet believe this is among the most important financial work available to you. 7. Your genuine desire for spiritual growth has made you a target for those who profit from it. This is an uncomfortable truth that the spiritual community does not always discuss with the directness it deserves. Awakened souls, whose genuine desire for growth, for healing, for the acceleration of their spiritual development is real and deep and sincere, are specifically targeted by an industry that has learned to package its offerings in the language of genuine spiritual service while operating according to the logic of conventional profit extraction. The expensive certification program that promises to legitimize gifts you already carry. The healing retreat that costs more than a month's income and delivers less genuine transformation than a season of honest, solitary inner work. The guru whose teachings require ongoing financial investment to access, creating a dependency that genuine spiritual empowerment would dissolve rather than cultivate. The course, the workshop, the modality, the system, all presented in the frequency of genuine awakening, all priced at the level of genuine financial sacrifice. Your discernment, the same sharp, accurate, energetically attuned discernment that serves you so well in other dimensions of your life, must be applied here with the same rigor that you apply it everywhere else. Perhaps more rigorously, because the packaging is specifically designed to bypass exactly the kind of careful evaluation that would reveal what is genuinely valuable and what is not. Genuine empowerment does not require your financial depletion to produce it. Genuine spiritual growth does not consistently leave you poorer. And the teacher, the program, or the community that consistently extracts more than it genuinely returns is not aligned with your growth, whatever language it uses to present itself. Invest in what genuinely develops your capacity, your skill, your authentic gifts, and apply the same honest discernment to spiritual spending that you are learning to apply to every other dimension of your financial life. 8. What you offer has genuine value, and you are pricing it as though it does not. This is the trap that operates most directly at the intersection of spiritual belief and practical financial consequence. And it is the one that, once genuinely healed, has the most immediate and most significant impact on the financial reality of an awakened soul's life. You undercharge, not slightly, dramatically, in ways that bear no relationship to the genuine value of what you offer and that reflect at their root, not humility, but a deep and unexamined wound around worth. $20 for a reading that transforms someone's understanding of their path. $50 for coaching that produces genuine and lasting change in the trajectory of someone's life. Free advice, free energy, free time, given away with a generosity that is real, but that is also, beneath its surface, the expression of a belief that what you carry is not worth full compensation. And the people around you, however genuine their appreciation for what you offer, will, in the absence of your own clear valuing of it, unconsciously take their cue from your pricing. What you charge is a signal. It communicates what you believe your offering is worth. And when that signal consistently communicates that your gifts are available for far less than their genuine value, it produces exactly the financial reality that the undercharging creates. Raising your prices is not greed. It is not the abandonment of your service orientation or the prioritization of financial gain over genuine care. It is the honest alignment of what you charge with what you genuinely offer. And it is, for many awakened souls, one of the most significant frequency acts available to them. Because the frequency of someone who knows the value of what they carry and prices it accordingly is genuinely different from the frequency of someone who consistently undersells themselves. And the financial reality that each frequency produces is equally different. You know the value of what you offer. Price it accordingly. 9. The emotional wounds you have not fully healed are costing you money. This is the deepest and most fundamental of all the financial traps, and the one that, when genuinely addressed, has the most transformative effect on every other pattern on this list. Everything that has been described in the previous 8 reasons, the overgiving, the limiting beliefs, the inability to say no, the self-sabotage when abundance arrives, the undercharging, the vulnerability to exploitation, all of it has emotional roots. All of it is connected, at the level where the pattern was originally established, to specific experiences and specific wounds that produced specific conclusions about what is safe, what is deserved, what is possible, and what love and service and genuine worth actually require. The shame that learned, early and deeply, that wanting more than the minimum was greedy or selfish or spiritually wrong. The abandonment wound that makes the approval of others, any others, at almost any cost, more important than the maintenance of your own financial integrity. The unworthiness that established, through experiences that were never your fault, but that lodged in you as if they were, that abundance is for other people, that you are the one who gives, not the one who receives, that your role is to ensure that others have enough, whatever the cost to your own having enough. These wounds are not failures of character. They are the residue of experiences that happened to a soul that deserved better, that deserved to be taught its worth, to be shown by the behavior of those around it that its needs mattered, and that receiving was as legitimate as giving. And they can be healed. Not perfectly, not all at once, not without the patient and sometimes uncomfortable work of genuine inner examination, but genuinely, progressively, in ways that produce real and visible change in the financial patterns that the wounds have been generating. Every step of genuine healing is a step toward a different financial reality. Every wound genuinely tended is a leak genuinely closed. Every layer of unworthiness genuinely released creates space for the abundance that was never actually unavailable, only inaccessible to the frequency that the unhealed wound was generating. Heal the emotion, close the leak, and trust that the financial reality that follows genuine inner healing will reflect, in the practical, visible world, Exactly the shift that the inner world has undergone. 9 traps, all of them real, all of them specific to the particular vulnerabilities that awakened souls and chosen ones carry. And all of them, once genuinely seen and honestly addressed, closable. Your challenge this week is simple. Look back through these 9 patterns and identify the one that most clearly describes something you recognize in your own financial life right now. Not to judge yourself for it, not to feel shame that it has been operating as long as it has, but to see it clearly, honestly, with the compassionate self-awareness that genuine healing always begins with. And then take one concrete step toward closing it. Raise one price. Say no to one request that deserves a no. Have one honest conversation about money that you have been avoiding. Unsubscribe from one financial dynamic that is draining rather than nourishing. One step, one trap, one honest movement in the direction of the financial reality that your mission genuinely requires. Money is not your enemy. It is not spiritually inferior. It is not incompatible with who you are or what you are here to do. It is the practical fuel that makes everything you are genuinely here to offer sustainable over a lifetime of genuine service. You deserve financial stability, not as a reward for sufficient spiritual achievement, not as something that comes after the mission is complete, but now, as the practical foundation that allows the mission to actually happen. Stop the leaks, heal the wounds, value what you carry, and claim the financial reality that has always been available to a soul aligned with genuine purpose. This is the Messages of the Awakening channel. If this stirred something in you, share it with someone who needs this reminder today. Subscribe for more spiritual awakening content, and leave 1111 in the comments if this found you at exactly the moment your soul needed it. Thank you for being here.